Yeah, I know. It's okay. I was a very shy boy too. If you are shy, you can write on a piece of paper, pass on to your boss. She can read it to me. Yeah, that's a good point. In fact, when I first started, was that the first thought was that patent, about patenting your design and your ideas, right? I have my personal thoughts. I mean, patent is good in the US, but then again, even if you patent, it is a country-based patent. Now, if you are a startup, how are you going to patent your ideas in every country you do it? It's tough. And for me, the speed of execution is about understanding your ideas and go to market as fast as you can while protecting your intellectual property. You don't have to share your intellectual properties with your customers, but you can go to market with your intellectual properties as fast as you can. So if you ask me, yes, I will go without patent. After all, there are many open source community out there in the world. If you are a technology company, a software company, it's going to be very difficult for you to patent unless you are very large companies and so on. I give you a successful patented company, Motorola. Motorola has lots of patents in the company. There are about 100,000 patents in Motorola. But Motorola is not a successful company now. Why? Because they are not executing on the patents. They just go and patents and file the patents. But if you're not executing on it, you're not going to make money and you're not going to make business out of it. So the goal is for you to go to market as fast as you can, because if you can think of an idea, another person would have think of ideas as well. The question is, how fast do you execute on your ideas to market? So, so that's the point. Quality, yeah. You know, a lot of people say I either delivery at speed with less quality or high quality with so speed, right? The question is that you have to go with both. If you want to differentiate yourself, you have to go with both. You have to go with high quality and speed at the same time. It's not easy. If it's easy, everybody would be successful anyway. So the goal for you is to be at high speed and high quality at the same time. And that is your differentiating factor against your competitor. And I can tell you, in terms of speed, we were bidding in one project in Indonesia, and we were competing with a multinational company. And that multinational company, we were two shortlisted company in the company. Indosat was one of the operators in Indonesia. And to the point, there were two of us being shortlisted. It's either Globe OSS or the other multinational companies, right? And the speed at which you execute your proof of concept, that's one. Speed at which you execute on your decision is another. You know, I remember when I was in multinationals, you know, I had conference call after conference call after conference calls. You know, sometimes we have a conference call to discuss about the agenda for the next conference calls. So multinationals are slow. And if you want to compete with multinationals, the secret is speed. You compete at your speed, you'll win. And this particular case, there was a phone call, we discussed over the phone call, we make the decisions, and then we won the project because the decision of speed making is important. Because that's the only weapon you have against large organizations. Because they like to have conference calls and meetings and meetings and meetings and meetings and meetings. Okay, so what's next? Anybody? Yes? Okay, there are a few questions here. It says, should entrepreneur be greedy? So what do you all think? Oh yes, wow, okay. Okay, I'll give you my thoughts, okay? And again, it's all personal, right? And I know there are greedy entrepreneurs who are successful, but greedy may be your pitfall as well, okay? So greed by itself, of course, has got negative connotation, right? But what I want to say here is that being an entrepreneur, you need to have a desire to win, not to be greedy. But what you have to desire is that when I enter into a competition, it's like running a race, you know, mark out for us. We run until we finish. We train ourselves, we run as fast as we can until the finishing line. And being an entrepreneur, we go into, quote unquote, a competition to win. I mean, there are times when you lose. If you lose most of the times, then of course your company will not be successful, right? But losing is also good, because losing means you will learn from your experience. In fact, the best teacher is when you lose. So I lost a couple of deals, and that was the best teacher for us, right? But the fact is, should entrepreneur be greedy? Actually, my answer should be no. But an entrepreneur should have a willingness to win in the marketplace and be confident that you can beat the competition. And the competition can come from multinational, from a large organization, or small organizations, but you enter into a competition to win. What led you feel success? Meaning, what is the definition of success? Oh, okay. I assume what is the definition of success, right? Or what led you feel success? Okay, so I assume that the question is that when do I feel that I'm successful? I assume, right? And actually, it depends on you. What is your definition of success? Definition of success could be money. You know, when I first started, I must admit, I want to start a large company. I want to say, I want to have a 100 million company by certain years, right? So that was my goal. So that was my definition of success. But then along the way, I changed the definition of success, because if I define success as in monetary terms, then it is like living with oxygen. Oxygen is not the end of the goal. You know, money is necessary for life, but it is not the end of life. So for you to define success, you got to start thinking as a company, when you build a company. So my definition of success now, am I contributing the company into the industry that I serve in? For example, in the area of telecommunication, am I making the industry better? Now, by making the industry better, you will naturally reap the profit. The profit is a byproduct. Money making is a byproduct of what you do. So I'm not saying that money is not important. Money is extremely important. I share with you, we are cash strapped in some sense. We have to run, you know, 1 month without pay and so on and so forth. But the point is, yes, you know, success is your own definition. Some people, you know, one of my friends started a company. He said his success was to build people. Well, if the people is successful, then he is successful. A good definition. Another friend of mine, he started a business, and he says, I'm successful now because I'm having a 10 million business, you know, when I started with 0. So his definition of success is money. Fine, I'm not against that. But I think it's who you are as a person. Of course, for me, you know, success is adding value to the industry we serve in the best we can. Okay? The third question is that should a newbie entrepreneur compete with existing company? So the question is that there already a company out there in the marketplace. So a new entrepreneur enter the market, should I compete with a new company? And that depends, because if you are small, as I said, you need to add value. Think adding value. That's why I said, you know, if you start thinking adding value, then your strategy will fall in place. Let's give you an example. When you first started in the marketplace, we are small. And for us to compete with HP, a company that I used to work for many years ago, is impossible when I first started. So what I do is, of course, we start a partnership with HP and we become a subcontractor to HP. So we deliver a project being a subcontractor to a larger organization. So that's fine. We learn the experience. The people learn from it. I've worked for a large organization, but my team have not. So they learn from bottoms up. So they learn to deal with large companies and work together. And as you grow bigger and bigger, you have the capacity to compete. I'll give you another example in a larger, some of you carry many Samsung phones here. Samsung is a subcontractor to Apple. You know that, right? In the early days. And now Samsung is a competitor, or the largest competitor to Apple, if not going to take over Apple. So the fact is, it depends on where you are and what your strategy is. If you think you cannot compete, and if you think you do not have a differentiating factor, then don't compete. Work with other people. If you think that you have a differentiating factor, then go ahead and compete with your competitor. You get what I mean? So you got to think, do I have a difference? If I go into a marketplace, does a customer think that I have a superior product? If you don't have a superior product, forget about competing, work with another company. But if you have a differentiating factor like cost or cheaper price, or whatever it is, yes, go ahead and compete, and the best will win. Yep. Okay, that's 3 questions. Anything else? Anybody else? Thank you. Yep.
Sir, may I know that business plan is helpful in starting a business?
Can you repeat again?
Is this the business plan helpful in starting a new business?
Good question. Is business plan helpful in starting a business? I come from a multinational companies, and my experience is that I've been always drummed into my head that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? But I have a different understanding and a different thoughts as an entrepreneur. Because a teacher, after that, they say, all the theory will go down the drain. But the fact is, the answer is yes and no. Sorry to say that, because I know this is not the answer you want. Yes, planning is important. A very comprehensive business plan is not necessary as a startup. Okay. I remember going into business, when I first started a business, I have 30-page plan. So, being a multinational, so I came in with 30-page plan. I write out all my plans and I say, if I execute this, I'm going to be successful. 2 years down the road, I could hardly execute any of those plans that I executed, that I planned in mind. But I had a vision. But that plan had a rough vision. The rough vision was to be the #1 OSS player in Southeast Asia, and the strategy is to build one customer at a time. And that was successful. So in a way, the plan could be a half-page plan, and it can be successful. What I'm saying is that plan is needed, but it need not be 30, 40, 50-page plan. Because a one-page plan, if you really believe in it and you know what is in your heart and your mind, and that's the plan, that's your business plan. A one-page business plan. It could be on a page, it could be on a napkin, it could be on your palm of your hand, it could be anywhere, or it could be in your head. That is your plan. But the plan has to be simple to execute. The question is not about planning. I think most of us can plan, but some of us can execute. A few of us can execute very well. And the few that can execute very well will win. I hope it makes sense. Okay, so anything else? Okay, one final question. Okay, good question. He says we start small and then we don't have much money. And then how do we prevent big companies from copying our ideas? You cannot prevent, unfortunately. And that's the fact of life. In fact, in any business, everybody will copy your business model if it's very successful. And whether you like it or not, you can never stay with the same ideas for a long time. In business, it's changed all the time. One idea can only sustain you maybe a couple of months or maybe 1 year. If it's very good, then it's 1 year. Anything longer than that, it is obsolete. So the challenge for us is to continue to innovate. So, it's hard to say, one brilliant idea doesn't make a good business. many innovative ideas makes a good business. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right.
Okay, I think for the past 1 hour, we'll be hearing some of the personal experiences of Mr. An. Now, it's my great pleasure now to invite our head of the School of Technology, Dr. Chua, to give him, Mr. An, a small token of our appreciation.